Hi there. I decided today not to write a blog, but to talk to you about dream interpretation. Uh, this is something that I have been dealing with for quite some time. Once I started beginning to learn higher truth, uh, spend most of my times understanding the behavior pattern before a dream. For instance, waking up in the morning, I'm reflecting about that last dream that I had. It turns out that, as I explained in my previous blog, which is the part one, this is part two of the blog, uh, where I explain basically what a dream is in terms of how it manifests. But how to interpret dream, it's something totally different. Uh, People have used images because, of course, what we bring to memory is an image of an event that took place that we have been able to recall based on an experience that we had through that dream. But what is a dream? Well, the soul, which never sleeps, is the one that keeps experiencing life while the body rests. So if the soul, because of the understanding of its true nature, which is either in the physical plane or understanding that we are more than what we have been taught that we are, understands that there are realms that can be accessed and bring to memory. But the brain, being the receptor, is the one that takes that experience and convert it into an image. Let me give you an example. How many times have you dreamt that you were with a pain in your arm, for example, just to give you an example, and in the dream you feel like the arm is detaching from you, and you feel the tingling of the hand being taken or dismembered out of your body, and whatever dream you might have, and suddenly you wake up and you realize that you were sleeping on top of your shoulder, on top of your arm. The blood circulation got stuck, and then you were feeling the tingling, and then you wake up and suddenly, oh, it was my arm. A physical experience like sleeping on top of your arm will manifest in a dream through an expression, through that living experience that we do live constantly. Reason why you should meditate once in a while to quiet your mind. But there are dreams that are based on the physical response of the body. Then we have this type of dream that, for instance, let me think of a good example, and one that you can easily understand. How many times have you dreamt, for instance, when you were a child, and you wanted to buy ice cream, and your mom said, no ice cream today. And you were frustrated, angry, sad because you didn't have that ice cream. That evening, you probably would be dreaming that you were having that ice cream. And that became a dream. Well, that dream is your soul wanting to have that experience that could not be fulfilled, and it attempted to fulfill that experience through a dream. Only because you already went through the experience and you want to have the experience one more time. Because if you wouldn't have had an ice cream before, it would be totally awkward for you to have an experience of something that you never had before. Or let's say that you do not recollect. For instance, you will never, ever, ever dream that you are dead. because death does not exist. You see? Now, likewise, the soul, wanting to have an experience while the body rests, can go to back memories of previous lives. I had many of those, where you can recall vividly the walls, the ambient, the environment of an experience that you had in previous life, and you bring back to memory, either pleasurable or fear. But also through a dream, if you're open to it, you can get a lot of message of those other beings that have not incarnated, have not been incarnated in this physical plane, but do have the experience to help you out to keep on with your life through advice, reminders, or kind of guiding you through the process of your next task. How many times have you waken up with an idea that it never occurred to you, and suddenly you say, wow, I just remember this? Well, that is something you brought back to memory. Now, how do I learn to interpret dreams? It's not easy, because it's like, for example, if I ask you to suddenly, out of the blues, go and run a mile every day. No, you first have to train your brain to bring back to memory those experiences, and then put into practice this lesson that I received many years ago, which is, don't get hung up on the event or the action, but how did it feel? When you were having that experience, how did it feel? Did it feel like you were in a previous life? Did it feel that you were whatever? Take that dream, break it apart, not into the act, but looking at the emotion, and take that emotion with you and work with it. Because the emotion, or how did it feel, is the one that is going to give you the answers to your many questions. For example, I've heard many times that water means peace, and this and that and that and da. Trust me, if you as a child almost drowned, water is not going to be peace. You see my point? Remember, we are the total sum of all our experiences since the first day of life. Meaning that if we are dreaming something, we have to figure out by ourselves, how did it feel? Because my experience will not be the same as your experience. My interpretation of life is not your interpretation of life. I am the total sum of all my experiences. So my definition of life is going to be totally different from yours. We might have some path that had been close together, so we might have the same kind of ideals before what life is, but not identical, because we go through different experiences. Now, take this to your next dream. When you wake up from a dream, reenact the event, but keep always in mind, how did it feel? How did it feel? How did it feel? And keep pondering and pondering and pondering about it. Keep running that movie until you go to the next scene, and then ask yourself, how did it feel? And keep going to the following scene and the next scene and the next scene, and then you're going to start finding out that your dream is a manifestation of your experience But the feeling is what you should interpret as of the purpose of your dream. Every dream, as every physical experience, is a learning process. So learn from your dream as you live from your life. Don't take that dream to waste, because you have no idea how many lives you're going to be saving yourself from just by taking that time to ponder about that dream and learning from it. This is Francisco Frank Valentin. Until then.